Go download my free Legato course right now and learn to play fast in the fastest way possible. Hey, there's something you need to focus on. Chances are that you really do, because most people don't focus on this. And when you do, it's a whole nother world when it comes to practicing and developing your skills. It just dawned on me because we have this survey out and people are answering the different questions, and I just see a giant hole in most people's development. And if you fill that hole, then I promise you everything will change. Because it dawned on me that I never had that hole. For some reason, I studied this area and I became very good at it pretty quickly in my development. And that was the reason why I was able to guide myself to make the right decisions. Most of the time, you're confused all the way and you don't know what you're doing, or so it feels. But you have to be educated. You have to be a good coach and a good teacher to yourself, because most people, let's face it, are really studying this by themselves. Even though you have a teacher, right, that you go to a teacher every other week or every week, and they tell you to play something and you play it, at some point that just becomes like, it's not enough. You have to have your own passion drive the show here. You have to be so excited about it and so focused on developing your skills that it's not enough to go to someone who then tells you what to do and then go home and practice it. That's fine in the beginning, but at some point you want to take control of the process and really say, okay, I'm going to develop some cool practice plans here, and I'm going to figure out what to practice specifically. And I know that in these free YouTube videos and in our programs and courses, we really talk about a lot about this to give you methods and strategies, but there's something missing. It just dawned on me. And that missing piece, I'm almost afraid of saying it, because when you look at that subject, it's like, oh, it's boring. And just please stay with me after I say the word, right? Please stay with this video, because it's called music theory, right? And when I say that word, just for me in my body, I just feel, going back to public school, right? Sitting on a bench or a chair, taking in boring information that you have a very hard time understanding what to use it for, right? It seems, like purposeless. It has no function, right? But music theory, I call it the mechanics of music. And the reason why I have a whiteboard here is that we are shooting a course right now, an 8-week process, where we just kill it, right? We just disintegrate this challenge of understanding what goes on in music. And the reason why that is so important, and you can you let us help you or go find another source, but you have to manage, you have to really get control over this area, and it's super easy, right? Developing skills, takes time, takes repetitions, right? But developing knowledge is easy. It's like, it's nothing, right? Compared to developing skills, like trying to play football, what is hardest? Reading about football and strategy and read or watching YouTube videos about how to kick the ball or how to throw the ball if it's American football. All of these things. Now you can do that with a cup of coffee and you can become an expert, right? Leaning back in your chair, an absolute authority, an expert on the area. And it's so effortless almost if you have the right source of information, right? You don't want to go back 200 years and start reading up on music theory or go to these sources that just make stuff just boring right away, right? But you want to know the mechanics. Just imagine a chef going into a kitchen without knowing how to cook. All he can do is pick up recipes from books and then produce them. But he has no power over, adjusting the taste just right, the acid, the salt, the base, everything in it, the spices. He knows nothing. If you want to become a good chef rather than just a guy who can cook stuff, then you want to know everything there is to know about tastes and spices and the techniques of how to, do stuff in a kitchen. I'm not an expert, so, right? If you're a painter, you want to know everything about colors and how they blend, what colors are transparent, oil painting, charcoal, whatever you paint. You want to know everything about the theory of painting. Will that necessarily make you a good painter? No, of course not. But it's a prerequisite of going there. If you know nothing, you can always just be the student who says, I know nothing. Tell me what to practice. Tell me what to do. You need to develop authority in this area so you are a professor of what goes on the mechanics of what is going on. Why are scales the way they are? Why is the fretboard laid out this way? How are chords constructed? How do we put chords together? What's the key of a song? What is all this? Because when you know, you can start actually creating your own chord progressions, your own scales for that matter, and you can understand where you are lacking because you understand music. It's the most amazing thing, right? It's just, and we don't see it because we have this strategy laid out that, okay, I want to learn guitar, so you take guitar lessons, right? But in most guitar lessons, it's one-on-one, or it's 1 to 5, whatever, right? But we never study music really there because we see it as something very heavily, it's very boring, and it's not necessary when you're a beginner, and of course it's not. You just want to play a little bit of guitar, just want to have the first experiences of how to play a song and get that success experience. I can do it, right? But then from then on, you want to really educate yourself on what is going on here, because then you'll know what is lacking. Then you'll know if you are trying to do something, trying to play a solo and you can't do it, you're just trying to stack licks on top of each other and it's not working, then you want to know why, right? You want to know why the riff. You want to know what scales to use over what chord progressions, how you can put chords together, how to put new notes to chords, right? How to expand your chords, right? You want to know all these things so you can be creative, so you have that whole world, that whole 3D picture of how music works with interval scales and everything, right? Of course you do, and it's easy, so just get started, right? And you can do it while in your car, you can listen, you can see YouTube videos, you can do our new course here, enter into our 8-week course. Just a little suggestion, right? But just handle it.